Okay. Federico, may I invite you to also to the stage? All the other speakers, please take a seat. And to the auditorium, feel free. It's not just a round table in between the 7 people on stage. It's a round table among all of us. So if you have immediate questions, please feel free to raise your hand. You will get a mic and we can discuss it together. I'd like to open our discussion with maybe a short statement. The short statement is, and it was already mentioned, what can we all together do to strengthen the awareness on all these projects which have in mind we want to save lives and we want to encourage more people being part of these, let's say, important story. And I had a very nice talk to Federico before we started, and he told me about the problem. We have a law in Italy, but is the law the gold standard? Because for us, or for some of us, we want, or we are aiming for such a law for Austria. May I ask you, Federico, what do you think about this?
Absolutely. After 3 years, I can say you, please don't try to reach to have a law, because can happen that happened in magic years, 2015. I abuse of a lot of happiness because we have a lot. Wow, we have a lot. Nothing happens after between 2015 and 2019, because at the moment, Italy is a beautiful, crazy country. We have a very nice politician. Wow, I love it. We spent the last 3 years around the table in the Ministry of Education building all the scientific society that talk. What kind of materials, blah, blah, blah. We spent 3 years. We changed president. I give my hand over to the new president, and nothing happened in the last 3 years. Fortunately, in the meantime, happens exactly the same. Voluntary-based, several persons around the country organize event, training, experience. Nothing happens officially from the government, but fortunately, bottom up happens a lot of things. So maybe to have a lot is not a gold standard, I can say. Maybe it's better to organize bottom-up event. I can say maybe you have to write or describe every single story from every little part of Austria as a storytelling, and create a big book and say, okay, there happened this, there happened that. And in the meantime, maybe politicians wake up and say, oh, happens without a law, maybe.
Wolfgang.
I think we have a quite similar problem. We haven't a general law for it, but as I showed you before, we have first aid in the school curricula fixed, but nobody does control if the teachers are really teaching first aid. We have seen a lot of schools where we come and ask, do you teach Healthy, the program for primary school? Oh, have heard of it, but we don't use it. A lot of schools are doing like that. So the same problem, we don't need a law, we have a surveillance to do. And I think, especially because of a long history that we are teaching first aid since the 50s of the last century, we are resting on our laurels. It was one of the most mentioned questions we have heard when we started. Why do you do that? We have our first aid courses. We don't need it. Because everybody believes. We had a PISA study 2012 where Austria has embarrassing results. Every 7th Austrian only was able to perform correct first aid. But we were in Europe the highest level to believe we can perform good first aid.
Markus, you are
I don't think
kind of waiting.
yes, I don't think that the law is the solution of this problem, because if the politicians say you have to do this, I don't think this is the way to do this. We in Upper Austria, we have a system where the schools come to us. We make enough, we tell the schools that there is a project, and the schools come to us and say, okay, I want to be part of this. And this, I think, should be the way, and so it is maybe longer lasting, this project.
Okay, may I come back to you, Gisela? You are running your project more or less in a very local area in Carinthia. Did you ever had plans to expand, or are people coming and asking you, can we try it, how to organize it?
First, our vision was we want to start big, whole Carinthia, and we need more people. So we started in our village and said we learn CPR.
Say it in
Ein
German.
English problem.
Say it in German.
Okay, also wir wollten zuerst eben groß starten, like ERC, wo wir sagen, gut 6:1, und haben dann gesehen, nein, es wird sich verlaufen, wenn wir das Personal nicht haben. Jetzt haben wir gesagt, gut, starten wir klein und gehen die Spirale einfach langsam nach außen, machen einfach Werbung, und wir sagen, Mundpropaganda ist die beste Version. Und mittlerweile haben wir Anfragen eben aus anderen Bezirken, wo wir sagen, ähnlich Bezirksstellen bauen wir das System einfach klein auf und jeder dort einfach seinen Bezirk abdecken. Und unsere Idee war einfach, halt wirklich mit Bezirksstellen zu arbeiten.
Okay. I will give a brief summary in English as well. So the aim first was to start very, very big, rolling it out for whole Carinthia. But immediately it was recognized that there's a leak in instructors. And then they switched, starting very small, and now kind of growing up the community in all the other areas in Carinthia to have people in the different Carinthian districts working together with them, and again to start very small. And I think that's the same problem you, Michael, told us before. You're the one show for Burgenland. What are your ideas to grow up this one man to, let's say, hundreds of instructors? At 2 men, it's an increase of 100%.
Yes. And nobody wants to work without to get money for this. This is our great problem.
Darf ich das auch auf Deutsch sagen? Mein Spanisch ist besser. En español?
Yes.
Sí.
I will
Tú entiendes español, ¿no?
My Spanish is not so...
Okay.
Let's stay with German if necessary, and I will try to be the translator.
Danke. Ja, was ich jetzt eben mache, ist, ich versuche es über die Politik. Ich war ja schon relativ weit, wenn nicht die Neuwahlen gekommen wären. Und naja, es ist so. Aber jetzt habe ich hier, der Landesrat Doskozil wird der neue Landeshauptmann, und seine rechte Hand sozusagen ist davon überzeugt, und jetzt haben wir den Termin, und ich hoffe, wenn der neue Landeshauptmann davon überzeugt ist, dass das eine gute Sache ist, dass wir das politisch einfach dann schaffen. Und damit würden wir dann von den Barmherzigen Brüdern aus eben die Trainer schicken für die Schulen. Dann machen wir für Nord- und Südburgenland eben gewisse Termine und würden dann eben, wie teilweise in anderen wie bei dir zum Beispiel, einfach die Lehrer schulen, ihnen ein Video geben, ihnen ein Skriptum an die Hand geben. Und so wäre es jetzt mein Plan.
Another question.
Noch eine Sache.
Yeah.
Wie wäre es, wenn wir es gab ja mal eine Zeit lang dieses Prüfen, Rufen, Drücken, im Fernsehen, diese Werbung, wenn wir das einfach mal für Kids Saves Lives machen, wenn wir da einfach mal versuchen, einen Spot österreichweit zu bringen,
I think that's
dass
great.
dass wir den Menschen einfach mal sagen, hey, es gibt uns.
Exactly. Coming back to this, I think one point of advantage for you is that Burgenland is kind of small and beautiful. And what you are stating here is that politicians in one of our smaller states, of course, can be helpful. And if you are having the contact to the governor of your small state, then they are of benefit. And the last statement of you was, we had, I think, a very good campaign already on television for one of the Restart the Hard days. And maybe we should aim for and to start such a campaign again, having information or kind of advertising for Kids Save Life on national TV. But therefore, I think we will need more team players. Simon, what do you think?
In respect of what?
In respect of what we have discussed so far, because you, as representative of Drück mich, you have a lot of experience and you have been part, for example, of the TV campaign as well.
Yeah, I think cooperation is key, and this is key if we want to succeed and have the big success. So, I mean, the nationwide success. Nevertheless, I think we can do the top-to-bottom approach. I think the bottom-up approach is kind of the way which has more fruits in the first place, and there are low-hanging fruits we can get quite easily in the early moments. And then when you have best practice examples, like, okay, look, they're running in Carinthia this project, in Styria this project, look over there, in Vienna they're doing this way. Then it's much easier to convince in a higher precision and then maybe roll it out nationwide. Nevertheless, there are a lot of big heads involved, quite some egos as well. Get them all satisfied, get them all together, but in the end somebody has to do the job. And the job is not in the spotlight, the job is in a closed classroom, it's in your own community. It might be a festival on your street where you teach 20 neighbors, and also this is very important. There won't be a newspaper article reporting you have taught 20 of your neighbors doing CPR, but maybe they are the important ones because they will witness your cardiac arrest.
Yeah, and I think if we are really using, let's say, TV spots, then we need testimonials. We need people who are known. Otherwise, it's one spot among a lot of other spots.
I think that the key should be to train the teacher. This should be the first step, to train the teacher. I have the luck in Upper Austria that I have the Youth Red Cross who are training the teachers, and my part is just to explain the Kids Save Lives campaign and explain how it works in this campaign.
Okay, do we have already any statements from... Okay, we have one statement here and the second one behind there. Let's start here. I'm going to the back.
Should I go first? I'll keep short. I think we need a two-tier approach. I think we need both, the bottom-up and also going right to the top, because I think these things will meet at some point, and I think to really have total coverage of Austria, I think you need both, because things get easy. You know, in the local area, you will have resistance, and you will have to overcome somehow these resistances, and this will not be possible if you don't have a higher up level, at least informed that these things are going on. And then I think the next step is having information campaigns, and I think the most powerful, I believe, is having people who have been resuscitated and who go on stage and say, I've been resuscitated and I have this story for you, and I think we all need to do this.
I just have a question. What is the main reason that there are 5 people of different countries in Austria, Carinthia, Styria, 2 parts, and Upper Austria? What is the main reason that they are that they don't get together and getting strong and getting one strong hand, one head, one upper head, and getting together and maybe they can find a solution together to maybe get a law or maybe get together to take the string in the same way.
May I give you an answer? We have met last year, the first time, and we try to work together. It's not so easy because we are all human beings. And if you look to Germany, where they are quite well with GRC and the campaign, Kids Save Lives in Germany, they had the problem that Bernd Böttiger promoted the World Restart a Heart Day on the 16th of October. And there are 2 big anesthesiological societies in Germany, DGAI and BDA, wrote a letter to every member, 10,000 of physicians, anesthesiologists, that they don't want to take this day as World Restart a Heart Day. They want to stay at the resuscitation week at the end of September. And I think that's similar problems we have also in Austria. We inventing the wheel a lot of times, and it's very hard to work together. Sometimes only because single persons can't work together. And this partly for 20, 30 years. That's a pity.
To be a little bit the devil's advocate, maybe all the differences we are seeing here on stage are necessary when we are growing up from bottom up.
I am very grateful to all of you because it's so funny and strange that we have exactly the same problem all over the Europe. We are in Europe, maybe, yeah? Because I was born in Milan. My father comes from the south of Italy and my mother from the north. I grew up in Rome and now in Bologna. I think it's quite impossible in Italy. I think it's the same in Austria to bring all together a nation, because we have several different healthcare systems in Italy. We have several different healthcare systems, but also several different ministry of little regional education. I think it's a value to have several experience. I think it's a value to this is nice. Oh, you do different. This is cool. You do. I think it's a value to have different experience, a different approach, and it's so funny because we have exactly the same problem. In the middle of the week, it's impossible to organize something because we work. It's better to organize at the end of the week. It's very nice to learn from you exactly copy and paste the same problem in Italy. Same politician, we are in Europe, maybe this is a value. But I think yes, I agree, we work bottom up, and we work bottom up at top down, and we try to find an average in the middle. But I think it's useful to work in a small group, middle group, big group. The important is to start in some way with your neighbor, in your home, with your relatives, with your friends. I know it's little things, but in the sea. But we have a lot of experience, so we can share one of each other. This is so cool, that works, that not. And it's funny because we have exactly the same problem. It is so funny.
So we should work together. Michael Hüpfel.
I'm a little bit surprised about that, because in the last decades we had not really that problem, only in some subgroups. Big countries usually have that problem. We here usually had not. And so we reached goals quite quick, and I think this this symposium could be the starting point for that. So usually we are good networkers in a small country. Usually we go outside and learn how to do things, and then we finish quite earlier than Germany, where we learned it from. So I think for me that's not really typical. And also my experience with implementing the AED, getting laryngeal tube on ambulance cars, getting other things done, was different. So I hope that this symposium could be the starting point for that, because it's about the goal and not about us. And this is usually our problem. If it's about us, then it doesn't come together.
Ich wollte nur ganz kurz noch sagen, als wir das Treffen hatten, haben wir uns eine gemeinsame Salzburger Erklärung herausgegeben und die an die Landeshauptleute geschickt, unter der Federführung von Michael Bobbin. Und ich habe mit Michael gesprochen, wir haben leider nahezu keine Rückmeldungen von Seiten der Landeshauptleute bekommen. Nur, dass wir haben es auch festgehalten schriftlich, und es gibt diese Salzburger Erklärung von uns allen auch unterschrieben. Das war, glaube ich, ganz am Anfang mal gezeigt, wo wir alle dann auch da erwähnt sind, dass wir das fordern im Grunde oder möchten, dass das gemacht wird.
Michael is talking about our Salzburg Declaration, which was sent to all Austrian politicians, but there was no really response from the Austrian politicians. So I think the starting point we have already done. It's how to move on, what's of interest in the moment.
I rather want to make a comment on Michael Hüpfer's statement, because I think that's a string that we have now in our hands. And from the side of the Austrian Resuscitation Council, I would suggest that we could think of designing a grant for supporting Kids Save Lives, also an official campaign which could be on TV or which could have a product out of it. But picking up Michael's comment, I would say a fundamental requirement for such a grant from our side would be that we have the initiatives working together, that one single initiative cannot get it. It has to be at least 3, out of my personal opinion. And I would use this as a feed forward and would like to discuss this idea with you, because if that's something we could do, it would be sharing a common goal. Yeah, so would be happy to discuss this issue.
One more point, which is quite important for me. I also tried to show it a little bit in my talk before. Is we are here all and only physicians. To teach is not our profession. Not to teach children in school. Yeah. My wife, she's my co-inventor of our project. She's a teacher of teaching nurses, but she's quite better in telling pupils in school the things I do. I'm now nearly 60 years old. I feel I'm getting too old. And I think we need the other profession, the teachers, to sit together here with us. That would be important, because in Junior Red Cross in Austria, where they are doing a lot of these old work, they have only teachers. They don't ask us as physicians, and we are sitting here alone and want to tell the teachers what to do. And we also should look that we work together more in that point.
Maybe together we are strong.
Yeah.
Federico.
You are. I studied music when I was young. You are the nation that invented Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. I'm so grateful to Austria for that. It's always a teamwork. It's like a music, you know. We need to teach the teacher. We need to learn from survivor what happens after, how it's hard to restart after cardiac arrest. We need to work with relatives, we need to work with patients, we need to work with teacher. Unfortunately, we need to also work with politicians. We need to work with different perspective. I totally agree with you that we are mainly, in my first teacher, I am an anesthesiologist. I'm full of gases and ketamine, maybe too much. So, yes, it's always a teamwork. In this nation, please, as in Europe, don't divide your nation. Try to be one. Alone, it's not useful. It's a very terrible period of time for Europe and for Italy. Believe me, I'm so scared about the future for my son. Please don't divide this nation. Please work together with teachers, with politicians, unfortunately. But be one, because this is the key of success. And learn from each other, also from survivors, because I learn a lot of things from survivors, from post-traumatic distress after cardiac arrest, from the teacher, from Mara that became in virtual reality a teacher. She has a lot of problem now. Try to be one, please.
Okay. I will come back to you, Simon. If you have the one and only wish, what do you wish for the future in CPR awareness, children teaching in CPR awareness?
There's not one single answer to the...
Then give 2 or 3, we have time.
When it comes to cardiac arrest awareness campaigning, something I noticed over the last years, and this might be also, I want to do another, I will divide it from this to the grant. I noticed we're quite good to reach out to all the guys involved in professional healthcare. If I see who's following us on Facebook, who's liking our posts, these are all healthcare related pupils. These are EMS guys, these are healthcare professionals from the hospitals, but our target audience aren't the healthcare workers at all. We are targeting somebody completely else. And so sometimes it might be more beneficial to lean back, and a Facebook like is not all what you're aiming for. Lean back, really reconsider who is your target audience, who do you want to reach out for, and then take their perspective. This is crazy stuff we're doing. CPR is nothing normal at all. If you talk to somebody who's working, I don't know, in a bakery, this is nothing normal, this is not daily life. So take their perspective and then form the campaign which reads out for them and the campaign they can understand.
Markus.
Yes, I think we should work to that CPR could be normal in the next few years. So if we teach the children that CPR is normal, then I think this could be the solution for the next 3 years. So my wishes for the future is that we all initiatives in Austria should work together. We should network. We should meet once a year maybe, and change our experiences. And so maybe in a few years, maybe in 10 years, maybe in 5 years, we have the same. I don't know, the same opinions when we start, what we are doing, and so on. I think this could be the way for the future.
Michael.
Mein Wunsch wäre, dass Politiker uns verstehen und uns unterstützen. Das wäre mein einziger wirklicher Wunsch, und damit hätten wir alle Probleme gelöst.
I think the answer is that politicians will understand us. We have to learn their language, but this language is very difficult.
Yes. Mission impossible.
My wish is that 10,000 people dying every year in Austria by sudden cardiac arrest, which is 20 times more than at traffic accidents, where we spend millions of money to lower these rates, that we get only a small percentage of this money to lower our rates. Every 10th of us is victim once in his life. And that's we personal, but we have brothers, sisters, parents. So the chance that it's getting something of daily life is very high. And so I think training CPR resuscitation, learning resuscitation should be normal. It belongs also to the theme of resilience. We would need more and more in our society in the changing times. We have a climate with getting worse climate changes, we have seen last week. And we have to learn how to use a fire extinguisher, and we should also learn what to do when somebody getting cardiac arrest in front of us.
Gisela.
My wish is we must be a big family in Austria, in Europa, and I don't want to teach the teachers only, I want to teach the children. When I see what the children see in the television, this is for me fantasy, and the parents say to me, how do you can teach CPR, but they know a lot of things from the television. We have the background information from the medical, and we can teach this reality. And like a big family, we must be one big part to teach.
Okay, before coming back to you, Federico, Simon has raised his hand. He has one comment, I think.
Yeah, and this might answer also your comment about the grant. We have there victims of cardiac arrest which don't have a lobby. If you have cancer, this is something which can be seen by society. You get your treatment, you get your chemotherapy, you come home without hair. This is somebody everybody recognizes. Those we are caring for fall flat, and we have to tell, sure, you haven't started with basic life support, but there was nothing we could do anymore, and everything was fine. And there's nobody who's lobbying for them. And that's the problem we have. And now, if we want to improve something, maybe a common ground we build our campaigns on is even more valuable than any grant. I can remember when we started 5 years ago, we had Germany, prüfen, rufen, drücken, schocken. We had the ERC, which was check, call, press, shock, and smile. Am I correct? Okay. So we had everybody different there. Then we had these guys telling, okay, ventilation is so much important. You can't leave ventilation. We had the others, oh, the defibrillator is overrated. Sure, it's not that often used, but we had campaigns before. Defi hilft, one of the first campaigns in Austria. So the situation in Austria might be something different compared to Germany, which started much later with AED programs. So I think not spending money is right now the problem we have. I think really to say, okay, what do we have a common focus? Do we have a common target? Do we have common statements? And then we can build up on. And then everything is beautiful, everything. Some might want, something works different in Vienna than it might work in Styria. And it's good it works differently, but it should be a common ground. And I think the ARC could be much more have the role that we build this common ground here in this community, that we say, okay, these are our statements, that's kind of, and then you have all the good best practice examples we can make other enthusiastic about, and maybe can make them adopt some of the parts we do.
Federico, nevertheless, you know best about the future when I'm looking to your dress. If you have the chance to look thousands of years in the future, what are your wishes to the future?
Yeah, my wish is to have 100% of bystander CPR. And my wish is to create I totally agree with all of you to create a big community. My real wish is for the next 2 years to create a big event in the center of Europe, maybe why not in the Parliament of European Parliament, that talk only about school children and training and bystander CPR. And I agree that we spend a lot of money in stupid things. Try to, why not, organize a network under the umbrella of Horizon 2020 and create a European project to find funding to create a big campaign in Europe to increase the awareness around cardiac arrest and not only around cardiac arrest. Try to be very flexible, try to find the way to be also have an approach that can be sustainable, transparent, and easy to applicate in every country in respect of diversity, because for me it's a very big value to be different in your country, in my country, but at the end of the process we have the same problem. Maybe we have different solution, and we have to share the different solution, because maybe your solution is a good value for me.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Gisela. Thank you, Wolfgang. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Markus. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Federico, for this inspiring discussion. Also, thank you to all of you in the auditorium having raised your hand and asked some questions to us. I think we should move forward together, and moving forward together means you have to be part of the CPR race, which is still ongoing outside of this auditorium. It's important to have something to drink and maybe a small piece of pastry also outside of the auditorium. And we'll start again here at 3:45. So enjoy the break, and we see again 3:45.